In our first Angular multi-applications video, we showed you how to generate multi-applications within one Angular CLI application. We also showed you how to add libraries such as Angular Material to these projects. And here is the sample of what we did. We had our main domain running on port 4200, and we also had a subdomain running on 4300. Now, in this tutorial, I promised to show you how to add Angular Universal to these multi-applications. We are now ready to start adding Angular Universal to our multi-applications. To do that, I'm going to start here with the default project by running ng add ng universal and express engine, and I'm going to specify the client project, which is going to be domain, and I'm also going to add an app ID, which is going to be also domain. And with that, I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so we are done with adding Angular Universal with just one command. You can see here, Angular Universal or the CLI went ahead and added a lot of updates in applications. For example, here in our default application, it added a file named main.server.txt. It added another file named app.server.module.txt. It even went ahead and updated already files we had, such as package.json. Here it added scripts, which we are going to look at in a later time because we are going to need that to run the application. And it also went ahead and updated our app.modules.txt. If you look here, when I specified the app ID, so here is the app ID domain. So that's all you need to do nowadays to add Angular Universal to an Angular application. To check that Universal is working and running well in this application or in our default project, let's look at the package.json, and from there we'll know what scripts to run. So let's open our package.json. Here in our package.json, it updated with a couple of scripts such as compile, server, serve, universal, and build universal, and build client and server bundles. From here, all we need to do to run our Angular Universal application is to go back to the terminal and run npm run here, npm run build, npm run build universal, and we also want to check out our Angular Universal application locally, so we need a server, so we also have to serve that with npm run serve with SSR. Okay, let's hit. Our Angular Universal app has completed building and it's being served locally on port 4000. So let's go there and check out our Universal application. Okay, so here we have our main domain, and this is a Universal app. How can you confirm that this is a Universal app? Let me open the source. Let's view the source of our application or of our web page to confirm that this is really being served as Universal. Okay, as you can see here, our application has been built really nicely and is being served as a Universal app. So it's ready for what we want to do is to add the same Angular universal to our subdomain, which is the sub-application of the main application. To do that, we should think that just going ahead and adding ng Angular to the subdomain should work out of the box, but that gives an error. For now, there's a problem here because Angular ng universal creates two files out of the box when you generate your universal app. It creates the server.ts file, and it also creates another file, webpack server config.js. As you can see, let's look at the server.ts to check out the folder. Here, our build folder is dist and browser. And if we look at the package.json, here, the build, here we have dist server, that's served, our application is served from dist.server. In order for us to add Angular universal to our subdomain, what we have to do is we have to write other scripts. We have to write scripts, a different script, to run universal on our subdomain. But first, to do that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first of all delete the server.ts file and the webpack server.config file. Then I'll close the server down, and I'll close the server down, and I'll go ahead and run ng add ng universal and I'll also add the Express engine, and our client project is going to be the name of our subdomain or of our sub-application, which is subdomain. And I'm also going to specify the application ID as subdomain, and I will hit enter. This is going to generate Angular Universal for our sub-application, and it's also going to regenerate the server.ts file and the webpack files. And it's also going to do something here in the package.json. At first we had the domain here, but it has updated it to the subdomain. But that's okay for now. What we have to do next is just to rewrite scripts so they can run our subdomain universal app. To do that, I will just go ahead and copy these 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. I'll copy that and I'll paste that down here. And here in the first one, I will just add subdomain. And here I will add subdomain 2. And I will also add subdomain. And in the first one here, I don't really need to do anything at this point here. But in the build subdomain, I'm going to go ahead and here I should edit it to build bundles subdomain, and I should also run okay, I don't need to change anything here with the compile server. You may need to do that, but for now I won't change anything there. Then here with the build client and server bundles subdomain, I'm going to add our project, our sub application project's name, which is act, and it's subdomain. Okay, and here I should change it back to domain, and with that I should save that. Oh, okay, so Now that we have written our scripts and Universal, it's done being added to our sub application. So if we open the folder for our projects and in the sub domain application, if we look it out, we can also see that it went ahead and added like the main.server files, the app.server.modules, the TS files, and all the necessary files needed for our subdomain. And it also went ahead again and added the server.ts file, and it also added again the webpack.server.ts.config.js file. For this project, we are going to be building everything just to the dist folder, and here we are going to be saving everything to the browser. But if you want to change or play around with the folders or where your application should be built, you should go to the angular.json file. Here in the angular.json file, we have where, for example, here in the subdomain, we have an output folder. Here the output path, and it's set to dist-browser. You can always change this to whatever name or where you want your application to be built to. But for this application, we are not going to change any of it. Okay, so let's close that and let's run the universal server for the subdomain application. To do that, I'm going to run npm run, and I will do build. This time I'm going to build the subdomain application, which is SSR subdomain, and I should specify that build it, and I'll also run npm run serve, and it should also be our server for the subdomain, and our subdomain application has completed building successfully. So let's check also in the browser to make sure that our subdomain is universally served. Okay, so that is it. We have here, welcome to subdomain. Let's also verify to make sure that this is not just a bare Angular CLI application, but it's also a universally served Angular application. Let's just view the source. So here, view source. Oh, and you can see here it says subdomain. So, and we have been able to successfully build our multi-application to serve both the default project universally, that's with Angular Universal, and also the subdomain project universally with Angular Universal. Thank you for following on through this tutorial, and I hope I will have the courage to come up with more videos.